What the email say? We just like for the people out there who may not have taken it. You get the email back. I know when you take.
Talking about the first time?
Yes.
It said you missed it.
It's like an interview. Like, we regret to inform you that.
Pretty much, you missed it by 40 points.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it is bad. I would have rather failed really bad than to be that close. Yeah, I mean, I went in blind, but I still felt like, I put in work.
Right.
And when I put in work, I get it.
Right.
And I ain't get it.
He was like,
I ain't get it.
not this one.
Not today. Failure, to me, first attempt in learning. Right. And that's kind of how I took it. This is a first attempt in learning. What's going on, tech team? It is Just My Tech Sense, where we talk tech, finance, and lifestyle. I'm WillDoesTech, and I'm joined by my boy,
Johnny Tech. What up, Tech fam?
And co-host, Johnny Tech. And we're in the building. Building
Yes,
days,
sir.
discipline, building days, stacking until we get to
the
promise.
top, man.
Yeah.
Till we get to the top, man.
Yeah, but we enjoy the process. So today we are going to be talking about a good one. And the reason that I wanted to talk about what we're going to talk about is because I think a lot of people are scared of failure. And I want to, one, let you know that it's okay to fail so long as you're failing forward. And two, just let you know that you're not the only one that may have encountered some sort of failure when it comes to certifications. So I'd like to just take it back to a time where I took the hardest cybersecurity certification there is on
the hardest
on
one?
planet Earth.
I want to hear what this is. I don't know what he's going to say.
He knows exactly what I'm going to say.
I don't know what he's going to say.
He's playing like he doesn't know the story. But again, I'm not even going to claim that it's the hardest cybersecurity certification that there is. But people have said that it's one of the hardest certifications that there is, and I do believe that it is one of the hardest certifications. But I don't know if it's on the level of OSCP. I've never taken OSCP.
I've heard that's a tough one.
Yeah.
So, heard some of the SAN certs get pretty tough.
Yeah, some of the Cisco certs. So again, I don't know, but in terms of cybersecurity, there is one gold standard.
What are we talking, man? What are we talking?
There is one gold standard, and we've talked about it before, and it's always ranked number one on my list, and that is the CISSP. So I just wanted to talk about it. One, because I have a podcast partner who has not taken it yet, but he's been talking about taking it for 3 years, and I'm not going to say any names. I won't say any names, but he has talked about taking this certification for 3 years, and he has not done it yet. And there may be reasons.
We want to know why you failed. We want to know why you failed the test, man. Come on, don't talk about me. I got my reasons.
But at least I took it. So let me just take it back, right? So I've been doing this for a little while now, and when I first got into the industry, I received a voucher for CISP. I had no clue what it was. I just knew that people were talking about it, and they said,
right,
if you got it, then
write your own ticket. Almost
it would lay the foundation for success, right? For future success and for current success. And with that, I said, oh boy, let me go ahead and study. I didn't really say, oh boy, but
no, you probably did. Oh boy.
I didn't say that, but
you just said,
I said that just because I'm telling the story. But I didn't. In my mind, that's not how I talk.
You said, oh boy, it's the SSP.
But back in the day, right, Sean Harris, God rest her soul, she had the book, right, the body of knowledge, the CSSP body of knowledge, and like that was the only thing that was out. So back in the day, it was 240 questions, 6 hours long on Scantron. So that's number 2 pencil, circling dots, right, on a Scantron, and I was preparing for that, and we had our MP3 players, our iPods, and I would listen to CISSP, and I made indexes,
right,
and really tried to learn the definitions.
So let me ask you a question. So whenever before you heard about the test, right? So like where were you at before, like when you heard about the test, like where were you at in your career? What were you doing?
Yeah, I was in school.
Okay.
And I was in school. So, but again, I just got into the industry at that point.
And that's why I was asking that question, because I'm like, and for my experience, I felt like, I went and got my degree in information technology.
Yeah.
I had heard a little bit about different certifications, and the very first time I heard CISSP, it was in the realm of like, this is an extremely hard test.
Yeah.
6 hours. It's for top level, top notch professionals.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I always was like, well, I'm not there yet. Let me work my way into, whatever. Like, I went through career stages of saying, okay, well, let me get this certification to build towards that. Yeah. So like, it sounds like you heard it maybe in a different setting.
Yeah. It wasn't as, I heard it was a tough exam, that most people didn't pass it. And it was one to be taken seriously. And that's what I did. I studied like I would have studied in college. I studied the book. And as I continue telling the story, you'll see why I didn't pass the test. So I went, and whenever I get a free voucher, the worst thing that can happen when you get a free voucher is, you end up in the same place that you're at. Right. So taking the exam wasn't an issue. Now, sitting for these exams, right, 6-hour exam, that wasn't fun. But when I sat for the exam, I got to the first 10 questions, and the way that the answer choices that they give you, you have to choose the most right answer, right? And there are multiple good answers, but you got to choose the best answer, right? It's like they say, let's say you have an orange, right? And they say, describe this orange. And the choices you have is A, it's orange, B, it's round, C, it's an apple, right? And so there's like a throwaway. But again, it was like all of that for 240 questions.
Right.
And it wasn't adaptive at the time. Again, it was on Scantron. So what I was told was, you take the exam, you go back, and you retake it, right? You double check your answers. And by the time I got to the last question, I was 4 hours in. And I went back to recheck it, and I checked the first two. I said, I wasn't even sure of the first two.
Right.
So why am I going to go back? And so at that point, I turned in the answer sheet. And at that point in time, it wasn't instantaneous. Right. You received an email letting you know whether or not you passed. And maybe 6 weeks, 2 months later, I got an email, and it said I missed it by 40 points on a 1,000-point scale. So really, that's like 4 points.
Right.
So I was pissed. I really, even though I didn't know what it was, I didn't like, especially at that time. This was in 2010, so 15 years ago. I just didn't.
Did you feel prepared when you were taking
Absolutely.
the test? Right.
100%. And as I was taking the test,
you were like, "Oh man!"
I said, "What did I even study? Nothing that I studied was on the test." Is what I felt like.
Right.
All this time.
And about how long did you say you studied for?
I studied for a few months.
A few months, and you felt very prepared.
Very prepared.
Okay.
Because I can tell you about the book, but when you take the test, you learn that it's not about the book. It's really about your experience.
Right.
And that's what I didn't know. I thought it was definitions and all these other things, right? Encryption, all these. And at the time, I think it was 10 domains. I think it's 8 domains now. Yeah, so I thought that I'd be good to go. And so I got that, failed the test. Said, okay. I didn't. So I ended up, I took the test again in 2015. And, yeah, at this point it was adaptive. So
you mentioned that you get an email after you take the test. So like when you finish taking the test,
yeah.
It sounded like you didn't feel confident that you passed at that time, or were you unsure at that moment?
No, I didn't feel confident, but people said you'll never feel confident.
Right.
So I thought it was natural.
So you still had some. So you still have some hope. You were like, all right, well, I get this email.
Right.
I might be all right.
Right. And I got the email, and just the amount of, I never studied for anything like that ever in my life.
Right.
And to fail it and to give it my best effort, it was a kick to the gut.
Right.
And but I wasn't gonna let it beat me.
Right. So and then even saying that, like I can understand it, because if you were in school, you didn't necessarily have the experience, like, because even with CISSP, you're supposed to have a certain experience level before you even take this test, correct?
Right. So I would have been deemed an associate.
Right.
Just because I didn't have the time. But again, I didn't even know what any of that meant. Right. So yeah, I mean, I went in blind, but I still felt like, I put in work.
Right.
And when I put in work, I get it.
Right.
And I ain't get it.
He was like,
I ain't get it.
not this one.
Not today. And so it was still my goal to get to get the certification. I took it again, and this time it was adaptive, right? And this the environment.
So you're saying you're taking it again?
So I took it a second time. And
what did the email say?
What do you mean?
What the email say? We just like for the people out there who may not have taken it. You get the email back. I know when you take.
Talking about the first time?
Yes.
It said you missed it.
It's like an interview. Like, we regret to inform you that.
Pretty much, you missed it by 40 points.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it is bad. I would have rather failed really bad than to be that close.
By 40 points, I might have been like, okay, I'm right there. Let me hit this again.
See, and that's where the test, right? It tells you which domains you need to work on. But when you're taking the test, you can't tell the difference in domains. Like, it all just kind of blends together. And when I took it the second time, it was adaptive. So it was, if you're doing well, they're going to give you tougher questions. If you're not doing so well, they're going to lighten up on you. And it felt light for a second, right? Like, I was
going through questions.
I said, this isn't going well.
Right.
It's just not. Just based on my read on things, it's not going well. And when I got to question 50, I said, screw it.
Right.
I failed it. And from there, I just I stopped reading, and I just went through the test because I knew in my heart that I had failed it. And at this point, it would cut off at 100 or it would cut off at 150, right? Right. In between there. So I got to 100. It would cut off if you failed or if you pass. Right between 100 and 150. I got to 100, didn't cut off. I was like, I still got a chance.
Right.
Got to 101, didn't cut off. Joint got to 103, that joint cut off. I said, nah, I ain't make the cut. And it's like Jordan on the high school basketball team. I already knew that wasn't it.
Got the scissors.
Right. Got cut. And they handed me the paper, right? Because this time was instantaneous, and
so we're talking about how big of a gap here. I don't know if you mentioned it.
This was 5 years in between.
So with that time in between,
no, I'm lying.
Okay.
It was 7 years in between.
So man, so with that, so you were that discouraged after the first take?
No, I just didn't come across a free voucher.
So I'm not paying for that.
No, because I wasn't sure. Like, if I was confident and when I took it, this ain't helping nobody. This ain't helping nobody's confidence at all.
Right.
But what I will say is when I studied for it, I studied for it the wrong way. And so because I wasn't sure when I took it, I was still like, it was in the back of my mind, but it wasn't one that I was willing to pay for, because all that studying that I did, I just remember saying nothing that I studied was on the test.
Right.
I'm not taking this test if it ain't for free.
Right.
That's just where my mind went. So when I got another free voucher, I took the test, and
so 7 years. So 7 years for your new voucher had, the way I look at CISSP, I think is for high level professionals. Yeah. That's what it says it's for. Yeah. So like, had you built on your professional experience in the space?
Yep. I did, and you make a really good point. And I should have passed it then, but my study methodology was wrong. I went into it still thinking, oh, this was a one-time thing. That first time I took it, where it didn't have anything that I studied on it, I was going to study harder.
Right.
And maybe I missed some things, right, the second go-around. And I studied harder. I had more flashcards. I listened to it more. I spent more time, maybe about a year before I actually took the exam. And when I took it, I had that same feeling. All this time and effort that I put in, and nothing is on this test.
Right.
Like, where are all the encryption questions? I'm not seeing it, because the questions are situation based pretty much. And they say, think like a manager. I don't even know what that means. I've been a manager, but they're saying don't dive into too much of the technical. And I think for me, I was overcompensating, right? Because I've done the management piece, and it's like, okay, well, how do I answer this from a technical standpoint?
Right.
So I think the way that I attacked it that second time, I went about it the same way I did the first time, which made it worse.
Right.
I bombed it. It was so bad. I needed improvement in like every single domain.
Right.
And I'm like, where do we go from here? I'm not going to give up, but where do we go from here?
Right. So you had a 7-year gap, took it again, but it seems like you just did more of the
same.
Yeah, more of the same, and it just didn't work out. So like even at this point, you're like, do you feel like it was you taking it twice? It's a pretty tough test. You're like, okay, did it almost feel like it was impossible to pass?
Yep.
Or, that's what I was getting at. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
I thought he was going to elaborate, like, oh, I don't know, man, but you keeping it real, like,
nope.
Nah, I didn't think, yeah.
Nope. I said, man, I need more vouchers. I need more vouchers. I'm not, and again, I don't say this to scare anybody, because at the end of this, I will say what I did in order to actually get through it.
But funny, like you mentioned, everything that you're saying is what I've heard about the test since, I would say, when I graduated college, and I was like, okay, I had no certs when I graduated college. That's what I like to discuss with my college. I think y'all need to start pushing that a little bit more, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But I learned about it as I started to get into the workforce, and I was like, hey, you probably should get these certifications. It will help you out.
Right.
So then I was doing my research on the certifications, and they're like, okay, you have, I mean, this is such a long time ago that I don't feel like even Security Plus was a top level cert that's mentioned like it is now. Back then it was like A+.
Right.
Get your A+,
A+,
Net+,
CCNA.
you know, moving, definitely CCNA was more like, it was said as the more tangible cert,
right?
But it was still a hard cert to get,
right?
And then they were like CISSP, oh, that's a monster. Like the people who was teaching you CCNA was like, I'm still working on the CISSP,
right?
Like that's kind of how it was brought to my attention. And it's like the stories that you're telling. You know, I know more people with CISSP now, maybe because I'm at higher level, and so more people probably have it.
Yeah.
But like at that time, I didn't even know anyone that had the CISSP,
right? And
it was like, if they did have it, I didn't know anybody, so I couldn't even say.
Right.
Like,
no, you're right. It felt impossible. I'll be honest.
Right.
Because I spent so much time, and I never failed this way, working that hard.
Right.
Just it through college, through my master's, just nothing had been like this where I just failed miserably.
Right.
And obviously it was on me. I just couldn't conquer the test. And then I get another voucher. And again, I'm seeking these vouchers out. Again, I hate to be told no. So I'm looking for vouchers, and like Pokemon. It's like I didn't give me a voucher, man. Right. I'm starting to get that itch, right? And I get another voucher, and I start to do what I was doing before, right? I started with the index cards. I did that for a week, and I said, don't forget the first time you took it. Don't forget the second time you took it. You did all of this work. You took time away from the family. Mm-hmm. You took time away from your wife, and you spent all this time, and you ended up with nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
Like, man, I know how that is, man. You put all this work in. You're like, okay, you want that gratification. It's like, nah, not this time.
Ended up with nothing. I still felt like I was still a good manager, and I understood CISSP, and I understood the book. I just couldn't pass the test.
So even you not passing the test, like you saying, like, let's say the studying that you did you feel like that even helped you? It was
beneficial.
Okay.
Absolutely, because it shows you the right way to do things. Mm-hmm. Maybe not the real way that things are done, but it shows you how things should be done.
I don't know, man. That's controversial, right there. You say maybe not the real way. So you telling me they making this test extremely hard and...
No, I'm saying
they had the real way.
By the book, right? By CSSP, by the book. If you do it that way, then your defense in depth is going to be good, right? But in real life, does that always happen? No, right? Because maybe it's politics. There are things that get in the way of you actually implementing controls, right, and things like that. Right. So, I felt like, oh, we're not doing things right.
I understand exactly what you're saying, because I'm putting in the sense of like, hey, they built this test this way, and you have to like, they want you to be an experienced professional. But if you're an experienced professional, you kind of know like everything in here is not even correct. Right. So there's like, it's almost like there's a method you have to know to pass this test.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and So I got that third voucher, right? So I'd failed the test twice. And again, failure to me, first attempt in learning, right? And that's kind of how I took it. Was this is a first attempt in learning. Now,
one more time with that. That's a quote people might need to pick up on. First attempt.
First attempt in learning. So maybe the second time was a sail, right? So my second attempt in learning, right?
Right.
So I'm sitting here sailing, right? And now we'll call it the tail, right? Now this is my third attempt in learning, and 2 weeks started studying because again I have to get it. I have to get it. Maybe a third time's a charm. And I get to the exam. And now, again, things have changed, right? Things have changed from Scantron all the way to, this was in 2020. And things have changed. And I get to the exam. And I get that feeling of, we back at it again.
Right.
And I start taking the test. And I get to question 50, and I said, I'm failing this.
On the third time.
On the third time,
we go again.
I got to question 50, and I almost got up.
But that's progression, man, because before you like after the second question, you was like, I don't know.
That was the first time.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
The second time, it was like 50, and I was like, no, I'm failing. And that's when I started going, see. I stopped reading the questions. I didn't get up because I didn't want to quit. But I pretty much quit, right? But that third time, I was sitting there, and I was like, I'm failing this thing again. For the third time.
That's ugly.
I said, but I'm going to nug it out.
Right.
I'm going to nug it out, right? I'm going to just... I haven't failed yet, right? It hasn't turned off on me yet.
So, let me just ask a question. So, like, you're taking it this third time. You're working through the questions. You're feeling like you may not be passing it. So are you feeling like you're answering the questions differently than you did the first and second time, or you feel like it's still somewhat the same? Because the reason I'm mentioning that, because like you're saying, the first time you kind of study with flashcards, and like, for instance, when you're studying with flashcards, you're kind of looking for terms, you're looking for it to tell you. So like on this third time, are you taking it different now, or are you still kind of looking for the same point? Because the way some of these tests, I haven't taken CISP, so I don't know, but I know the scenario-based questions, they have a lot of trickery in them, where it's like the first half of the question is just setting the scene, but it has nothing to do with the next part. So like you have to read them in that manner. So like I know when I've taken tests where I've been focusing on just flashcards, I'm looking for terms like, okay, this means that means this, and then you miss the whole point of what the question is really asking you. So are you doing it differently this time?
My approach is different.
Okay.
Right. So before I took the test, right, I said I took 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Not the 3 or 4 months, not the year. I said 2 weeks, I'm taking this test.
Right.
Because my mentality was, don't forget the first 2 times you took it. And everything you studied wasn't on the test.
Right.
In your mind, right, it wasn't on the test.
Right.
So you need to take a different approach. And I said, I'm going to lean on my experience and not on the book.
Right.
Right. And that's where, again, though the feeling was kind of the same, my approach to answering the questions was different. Doesn't mean that I was confident in the questions that I was answering, because, again, there are good answers, and then there's the best answer.
Right.
So, again, I just wasn't confident that I was choosing the best answer and not just choosing the right answer.
Right.
So with that, I just wasn't confident. So I got to 50, and I'm like, I'm about to stand up. This was a free voucher. I'm just being honest. It was a free voucher. I'm about to walk out of here. I already know I failed.
Right.
But then I said, you're going to feel this way every single time.
Right.
So nug it out and let the machine tell you that you failed, if you failed. And I got to question 100, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to hit, submit. It's going to turn off on me. It's going to be, I'm going home and, get ready for the weekend. I always take my exams on Friday.
Right.
And got to 101, didn't turn off. 102, didn't turn off. 103, didn't turn off. Right. I say, I'm past 103.
Right.
I'm better than the second time, right? Because they don't know whether or not I passed or failed.
Right.
Got to question 110, 125, still in the fight. And I'm like, all right, every question at that point meant something.
I'd be thinking I wanted to cut off early on me, like, oh, you did so good that you got to 100.
That's what we all want.
Right.
That's what we all want. That's what I wanted.
Right.
But I knew that if I cut off at 100 at that point, I had failed.
Not enough easy questions that came through that you were confident on. Like, no, don't cut off now.
No,
yeah, right.
No. So I get to 149, and I'm like, again, at any point you can cut off, and I get to 150. And then it cuts off.
Where it has to cut off.
Has to cut off.
I don't know about that one. I'm like, man, just look, fail to pass me, man. Come on. Right.
150, and it cuts off. And I already knew I failed, right? It's like, if they didn't know at 149 that I passed, like, what are they, this machine, right? Like, what is the decision-making process that it takes me to 150, and then they decide whether or not I pass?
Right.
Like, they should have known before then. Was it the last question that put me over the edge?
It must have been, man. Or like they was like, you know
maybe,
what?
But I felt like I answered that wrong.
What about it, man? What if they just dirty, man? Like, yo, he's passed it.
Or he took it. He failed it twice.
Right.
This is third time.
They just add the questions on trying to make like it's like
right.
Hey, all you need to do is get one right. Let's see if he get more wrong to mess up his percentage or whatever. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. You know
It probably goes by the number you get right or something.
I don't know. I don't know. But you know, I walk to the printer, right, head up, right, because I'm just like, I mean, if I failed, I'll just take it again.
Right,
and,
right.
Head up, and the lady flipped over the paper. She said, "Congratulations." I said, "You."
He said,
"I ain't gonna say what I said." No, I ain't gonna say what I said, right? Because I ain't trying to, you know, once we get monetized. But I was on cloud 9 for a good 6-7 months. I'm gonna take that back. 8-9 months. We're not using 6-7. A good 8-9 months, and you couldn't tell me nothing. I had reached the pinnacle of certifications as far as I am concerned in my tech field, and not saying that it's, you know, that's true, but that's how I felt at the time. And so my message to anybody that wants to, including to Johnny Tech, because Johnny Tech wants to sit for the exam at some point. But my recommendation to you is, one, don't let failure knock you down. And if you fall down, then make sure you get back up. Because as we said before, fail is first attempt in learning. Never let it knock you down and keep you down, and never quit. And be persistent. Some of these exams you're going to fail. You know, your exam may not be CISSP. It may be CISA. It may be CISM. It may be CASP. These certifications, it may be Security Plus. These certifications are tough, and but persistence and never quit will actually win at the end of the day. Also, when it comes to CISSP, lean heavily on your experience. And yeah, the book is there, but there's a lot of material. And when you look at the book, can you grab the book over there? There's like 3 that are. You can take your.
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
But there is a lot of information. Just move that album. There is a lot of information.
Just slam it on the desk.
Yeah, I mean, this is one book. But there are a lot of others. But don't feel like if you learn this book that is going to be the thing that passes you. Lean on your experience, and I guarantee that'll take you further than just leaning on this book. And that's what I did for the third exam, where I said, I'm not taking all of these words in here and putting them on index cards and trying to memorize it.
I definitely got to piggyback on what you said on that, as far as like lean on your experience, because I feel like SecurityX was formerly known as CASP. Like, they stepped it up. I took the new SecurityX test, and I kind of felt some of the same ways. That's a practitioner test, so it's different than this. You take this one as a manager, but I understood, like, so me being experienced in the field, I understand how to take the test now. So I took that one as a practitioner. But it's like, even with that test, I studied, and it was like, most of it I just had to say, like, okay, what would I actually do? Because it wasn't anything that I watched YouTube videos and did like book reading and all that, but it was mainly just everything I answered was like, okay, what would I do? And it wasn't the studying just helped me remember any terms that I might need to brush up on. So like, I definitely think having the experience, like studying, is going to help you, but you really have to lean on like, what would I do in the situation if I was a manager for the style of test you're taking. So that's definitely a great point.
Yeah, and this, to be honest, has been a gateway to other certifications. Other certifications are just that much easier because you have all of this knowledge. So CISA, CISM, CRISC, CCSP, all these exams that I've taken after the CISSP were, I'm not going to say they were a walk in the park, but I never failed any of them. Actually, no, I take that back. I did fail CCSP one time, and then the second time I was confident that I passed. It was super, super easy. Or not easy. But again, it was just based on my experience. And again, the 3 times I took CISSP, my experience, that made that second attempt that much easier for me. But yeah, when it comes to certifications, I know that a lot of people won't challenge them because they're fear of failure. And that will stop you from getting the positions that you want to get. I have a job that I absolutely love. And the biggest thing was outside of my, according to my boss, not being a potato and having personality, was that I had CISSP and I met the requirements to be an auditor. And, I stay hungry, but this was on my resume amongst my other certifications. And this is the one that was biggest for him. So just keep that in mind when you let the perception of, and even my story, right? I thought it was hard. There are people that have taken this exam and they've taken it based on their experience. They said, I'm not wasting any time really studying. I'm going to spend a month. I'm going to look at what they expect, and then I'm going in.
Right.
And they've taken it on their first try and they've passed it.
I think that's what I do when I take it. Someone throw me some vouchers, like Will, throw me some vouchers. I think that's how I'll do. I'll probably study for a few weeks just to get the terms. But I feel like I don't want to waste my time diving into the book that heavy. And things like that. So
and that's my recommendation. Don't take that long. It really, you will. I've done it twice, and I'm a sane person. But what I was doing was insane, where I questioned all the time that I put in studying because nothing felt like it was on the test. So I'm telling you off rip, understand you don't need to spend all that time. You need to spend time studying, but not a stupid amount of time studying, and lean heavily on your experience because you should have 5 years in the game at least in order to get it. So that was my story when it comes to my long-winded story when it comes to CSP, but it was a long journey, and it took me a long ass time to that's cuss. It took me a long time to get.
We would be past the monetization mark, so you're good, man. You're good.
But it took me a long time to get, and I just want to encourage anybody who is looking to get this certification or any other certification to just do it. Just go for it.
There we go. Just do it.
Just do it, Nike. Right? So what are your thoughts on that? What's stopping you from taking your exam? Is it money, right? Because, that would have cost me...
I don't know what it was
about
then.
$2,400 pretty much for the 3 of them. But is it money? And again, there are substitutes, right? CISM, I felt CISM was a way easier exam than CISSP. But what's stopping you? And any advice that you have for those that have run into this roadblock of not attempting a cert because of whatever fear or whatever concern. So this is just our Tech Sense. I'm WillDoesTech, my boy
Johnny Tech,
and we'll talk to y'all later.
Out.